Good morning. Welcome to Breakfast with Charlie State and Naga Manchetti.
Our headlines today: growing opposition to the idea of so-called vaccine passports, with claims they could be divisive and discriminatory.
Counting the cost of another holiday weekend in lockdown, the beer and pub industry says that it will cost it more than £300 million in lost sales by staying closed for Easter.
Scotland becomes the latest UK nation to relax COVID restrictions as the stay-at-home order is lifted.
Save our seals. Conservationists warn the mammals are being put in danger by people getting too close.
Good morning. A whole round of fixtures dedicated to one man. As Mossy Masoya continues his journey back from career-ending injuries, his rugby league family show just what he means to them. And we'll be speaking to Mossy a little later on.
And whilst we'll all see some sunshine this weekend, it will be the possibility of snow and ice, which may grab your attention as we go through into Monday. Join me for the full Easter weekend forecast here on Breakfast.
Good morning. It's Friday, April the 2nd. Our top story this morning: more than 70 MPs and peers from all the major parties have joined forces to oppose the introduction of so-called vaccine passports in England, which could mean people have to prove they've had a jab to enter some venues.
They say the move would be divisive and discriminatory. The government says a decision has yet to be made, but the Prime Minister is expected to give more details about the next stage of lockdown on Monday. Here's more from our political correspondent Ian Watson.
The government wants to reopen the economy fully by June the 21st in England. It's currently discussing whether proof of vaccination or of a negative test could enable pubs and entertainment venues to open, possibly without the need for social distancing.
When it comes to trying to make sure that we give maximum confidence to business and to customers, and here in the UK, there are three things: is your immunity, whether you've had it before, so whether you've got natural antibodies anyway, whether you've been vaccinated, and then of course whether you've had a test. And so those three things working together will, I think, be useful.
But the idea of vaccination certificates has united long-standing political opponents against them. The former Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn and the former Conservative leader Iain Duncan Smith are amongst 70 cross-party politicians who campaigned together to oppose them, calling them discriminatory and divisive. Downing Street says no final decision has been made on their use, and the government described reports that they could be trialled in theatres and sports grounds as speculation. But on Easter Monday, the Prime Minister will have some decisions to announce. He's likely to confirm that restrictions will be eased further in England on April the 12th, allowing beer gardens to reopen, as well as non-essential shops. And he'll announce the results of his global travel task force. This will set out how foreign travel can resume. Countries are likely to be categorised as red, amber and green. Returning from a red list country would require hotel quarantine, amber, home quarantine and green, negative COVID tests. But exactly when foreign travel will get the green light is still up in the air. Ian Watson, BBC News.
New rules to help pubs, cafes and restaurants reopen safely outdoors in England in 10 days have sparked anger from industry groups.
From April the 12th, all customers will have to sign in on entry, not just one member of the group like before. Some pub owners say the move will burden struggling pubs and staff. Government says it's providing as much flexibility as possible to venues.
Campaigners have begun legal action over government guidance that bans older care home residents in England from going on visits outside the home, despite lockdown restrictions being eased.
Visits are allowed in exceptional circumstances, says the government, and that it's looking to open up more safe options. Here's our social affairs correspondent, Alison Holt.
After the toughest of years, care homes are slowly, cautiously beginning to reopen. Nearly all residents have had at least one dose of the vaccine, and they're allowed a single named visitor indoors. But government guidance says a trip out is still too risky for older residents, and that's what's being challenged. A legal letter's been sent to the Department of Health and Social Care by John's campaign, which represents residents, families and friends. It argues that guidance in respect of visits out is unlawful, and that the ban on outings by residents aged 65 or over is in breach of human rights and equality laws. It also challenges the need for residents who have been out to self-isolate for 14 days, saying vaccinations and testing make it unnecessary.
people living in care homes, people who are in the last period of their life, were actually deprived of the simple pleasures of going for a walk by the river, going to a park, going out to see perhaps grandchildren playing in a playground. Those simple pleasures which mean so much.
In its guidance, the government acknowledges that trips out are important for residents, but says it increases the risk of COVID getting back into care homes. Alison Holt, BBC News.
Lockdown rules concerning travel in Scotland are relaxing from today. The instruction to stay at home now becomes stay local. Further changes to lockdown rules will take place on Monday, with hairdressers and more shops reopening.
Face masks are giving thieves more confidence to steal. That is according to convenience store owners, who say that masks are also making it harder to identify criminals.
9 out of 10 stores report an increase in verbal abuse on staff too. Sophia Seth has more.
Surgical masks and gloves, but not as you're meant to use them. This man enters a Tesco Express store in Shoreham with a gun and demands money. Although this particular crime is not commonplace at convenience stores, shop theft is.
We can't see their faces, all you can see is their eyes and the part of their nose.
Owners like Nilesh Parekh in Portsmouth say that face coverings are making it so much more difficult to detect criminals.
Thanks very much. People just take and run, that's it. Because they've got masks on, we can't see what's happening. When we go back to the CCTV cameras, we can't see their faces. In the stores like us here, we get around about 3 to 4 a week.
Nilesh and his wife Lupa have lost £12,000 just in shop thefts in the last year. Nilesh also experienced a break-in last November. £4,000 worth of cigarettes were stolen. In Basingstoke, Kishore Patel has run convenience stores for 17 years. He too has seen an increase in shop theft during the pandemic.
We believe that wearing the masks in our shop has given the customers confidence to actually steal things more boldly. Absolutely terrible. We feel very saddened.
He and his wife have also experienced verbal abuse when asking people to wear face masks.
Say the F word, or they might just say that we're not coming back to this shop. They might shout.
Common things that are being stolen from convenience stores are things that are typically easy to sell on, so things like alcohol, meat, confectionery. For some it will be in tens of thousands of pounds per year. This is not a victimless crime.
Although both Kishore and Nilesh have a loyal customer base, they feel it's been the hardest year for them.
It's our livelihood at the end of the day is spoiling, and basically, we're upsetting, that's all it is.
Sophia Seth, BBC News.
Glastonbury Festival, the National Football Museum and Bagbo Castle are among thousands of cultural organisations and venues across England that will share £400 million in government grants and loans. The money is the latest being offered to the culture and heritage sector to help them survive and recover after being forced to close during the pandemic.
London Zoo. Now, it may still be closed to visitors, but staff have been ensuring the animals are not becoming bored by putting on some entertainment for them. So zookeepers arranged an Easter egg hunt for the meerkats and the squirrel monkeys, and they did it by placing papier-mâché eggs in eye-catching colours among the sand and rocks in their enclosures. And, of course, there were rewards, there were treats inside. Oh, that's delightful, isn't it?
That is a happy Easter.
I love an Easter egg hunt.
Let's see, time now is 6:09.
Matt will have the weather for us shortly, but first, families bereaved by COVID-19 have been painting a vast memorial wall in an outpouring of love. It's opposite the Houses of Parliament in London.
The moving tribute features a heart for every single loved one lost to coronavirus, and they're aiming to hand draw 150,000 of them. Tim Muffet has this report.
You'd never find another woman like her. She had a heart of gold. She would help anyone if she needed to. She was my best friend. I'm very lost without her.
Violet died from COVID last April. Her granddaughter, Courtney, still finds it hard to believe she's gone.
Like, I'm still convinced I'm going to run down the stairs and she'll be at the street door. I'm still convinced I'll hear from her. But this is, it's therapeutic. Each heart is individually drawn for each person that has obviously lost their life.
The first hearts were drawn on Monday. The aim is for 150,000 to be added to represent the total number who've died so far in the UK with COVID registered on their death certificate.
When you drew that heart for Violet, your nan, what was going through your mind?
Everything, all the memories we had together, all the times we shared. My nan was a proper London girl. She loved her city. So keeping my nan here, she'd love it.
Not only is this mural opposite Parliament, where it will be visible to MPs, it's also outside St Thomas's Hospital, where Boris Johnson was treated for a severe bout of COVID last year. But organisers insist it's not a political statement, but a memorial, a striking representation of lives lost.
I lost my mother, my dear sweet mother, just before New Year's Eve. Very sweet, sweet woman, had a lot of life in her yet. She was an NHS nurse most of her life, and then moved to Mary Carey and worked there, and she was also a Samaritan, just the sweetest woman, always gave more than she took. It's a memorial, it's full of love, it's full of the people that are going to be forgotten.
So Neil, you've already done a personalised heart, but you're doing others as well.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, I think not everybody can make it here, can they? People have died all over the UK, and not everybody can get down. I'm lucky I only live, about an hour away, so come down and do as many as I can. And just doing it's been wonderful. It's been horrible, painful, I've had a few tears. But it helps.
Hand-drawn with love. For every heart, there's a family mourning a life lost. Lost, but not forgotten. Tim Muffet, BBC News.
See the headlines as they happen and watch BBC News live in the app and get the full story with bbc.co.uk/news. Follow the story for all the latest with BBC News.